Let's be honest, Pokemon's Johto games in their vanilla forms are boring and mundane. Seriously, no matter which version you're playing, whether it's the originals or the remakes, they're inherently flawed, doomed by weird pacing, an inconsistent plot, and atrocious level scaling. As much as I would love to make my own argumentative video essay on why Johto sucks, I'll save you the time, because 11 years ago, a lovely gentleman by the name of Drayano decided that he was going to do the Johto region justice. Enter Pokemon Sacred Gold and Storm Silver, difficulty enhancement hacks of the vanilla Heart Gold and Soul Silver games designed to fix the plot, challenge the player, and diversify the encounter pool. In this video, I'll be playing Storm Silver version with hardcore Nuzlocke rules, which are as follows. You may only catch the first encounter on each route, no items are allowed to be used in battle, level caps are in place for every gym leader and the highest Elite Four member's ace. Once a Pokemon faints, it is permanently boxed, and all fights must be played on set mode. Before we start, a quick message from our sponsor Manscaped. Just kidding, but I do have a quick disclaimer. It's going to say attempt 1 at the bottom of my overlay, but it's not actually attempt 1. I had run a couple attempts of this game before, but it was my first attempt doing it on stream, so for the sake of stream continuity, I listed it as attempt 1. You can catch me on Twitch at the username posted above. Otherwise, I'm fairly new to the whole ROM hack thing. It's only my second one, but I think this is a pretty entertaining run, and without further ado, let's get started. We start by resetting for two very important encounters. First, a mild nature Flashfire Cyndaquil, a phenomenal late game Pokemon, a nuke of a special attacker with the added immunity of Flashfire. This is the best starter choice in this game. Next, we grab a modest adaptability Eevee, which will make a phenomenal future Glaceon with its secondary ability Serene Grace, which it gets in this game, and a monstrous special attack stat. This Pokemon makes Falkner really easy. We're able to grab Starly on Route 29, which is an awesome encounter, one of the best normal flying type birds, as well as providing early Intimidate support when it evolves into Staravia. Then we grab Geodude on Route 46, another really good encounter, physically defensive, good for both Falkner and Bugsy. Then we get Corphish in Cherry Grove City, which sucks because we miss out on the Magikarp, but Crawdon has its uses. Then fortunately, we're able to get a Tailo, but unfortunately, it's not very good. It has an attack IV of 1, and pretty poor IVs all around, so it really doesn't see much usage in this run, which is unfortunate because it's a really fun Pokemon to use, and Swellow is obviously insane. We are then able to get our selection of the Kanto starters. I choose Charmander as it's good for Bugsy, and Charizard gets a lot of good matchups in this game, as well as a phenomenal move pool. Then we grab Cascoon, which evolves almost immediately into Dustox, a pretty good early game Pokemon who gets insane utility later in the game. Then we go to Dark Cave, and we miss out on a lot of good encounters. We end up rolling Sandshrew, which is unlucky. I could have done the Larvitar Manip, but I didn't want the chance of getting Slugma or Dunsparce. We are able to grab a Pidgey in Sprout Tower, we fight Elder Lee, and then it's time for Falkner. This ROM hack does a nice job of easing you into the difficulty. Falkner's team really isn't too scary. Like, yeah, the Murkrow can do some pretty good damage, and the Swablu with the Power Herb can be a little scary if you don't have a check for it, but overall this team is super manageable. And it's especially manageable if you picked Glaceon as your evolution. No explanation needed there. That shit was fucking easy. We head to Ruins of Alph to hatch Togepi, which would be great, but since you don't get Togekiss until very late in the game, you're going to be stuck with Togetic, which is just okay. We then head out to Route 32 to Manip for Magnemite. Unfortunately, we pulled Drifloon instead. Drifloon is pretty much only good for its immunities and some later utility, but this one is further held back by the fact that it doesn't even have Unburden. Then we go to Union Cave as we hunt for a defensive Pokemon. There is a Repellent in the basement that gives you a shot at a very good Pokemon, but because my best defensive Pokemon is Geodude, I go in at level 15 to put Aron in the encounter pool. Ideally, we can pull an Onix, which can be evolved almost immediately into Steelix, as Metal Coats can be thiefed from Wild Bronzor. Steelix is the only way to guarantee a deathless Bugsy. Steelix's massive defense makes the next few splits of the game much easier. While we don't get an Onix, we do end up with Gibble, which is a pretty decent consolation prize, and will certainly be better in the late game. I'm also able to catch a Rhyhorn on Route 33, which can be traded for a Gligar in Violet City. This Gligar is Impish Nature with 31 attack and defense IVs. This is a great encounter and something that will be immediately useful for Bugsy. We grab Shelter and Slowpoke Well, a pretty good defensive Pokemon with niche uses when it evolves. It's now time to fight the first Rocket admin, Proton. He leads with Voltorb, which is checked by Geodude. A single Magnitude can take it out. This baits out Cagnia, which gives us a safe switch to Charmeleon on Needlearm. 2 Embers can take that out. This baits out Coughing, but we pivot through Drifloon to dodge a potential explosion. It just goes for Sludge Bomb. Then we hard switch to Togetic and outspeed and kill with Extra Sensory. This leaves Zubat, and Glaceon is able to come in on a Toxic and kill with Icy Wind. Bugsy presents the first run killer in this game. His team sports 2 Pokemon that can set up rain, including a buffed Butterfree and a Heracross with a monstrous attack stat. He also has a Yanma that can Omni Boost and a Pinsir with fighting type coverage and knockoff. But the real problem on his team is his Scyther. 3 of its 4 moves play into its Technician ability, with the last of its moves being Stab U-Turn, which does almost half to my minus defense Geodude. As I said earlier, having a Steelix is the only way to guarantee a deathless Bugsy. Chances are, something is going to die, or we are going to have to dodge some crits. Our duel with Bugsy starts off as planned. He leads Butterfree, he sets up Rain, but we comfortably kill with 2 Dragon Rages. Yanma comes in next, seeing Ancient Power, but Geodude can eat it on the switch. Yanma then U-turns to Heracross, which eats a Rock Throw. I was hoping it would see big damage with Vital Throw or U-turn, allowing me to chip Pinsir or Scyther, but it went to Heracross. Heracross then goes for Bug Bite, stealing my Staravia's Citrus Berry. Thankfully, we can outspeed and kill with Aerial Ace. Yanma comes in next, seeing big damage with Ancient Power. After Detect, we can outspeed and kill with another Aerial Ace. Beedrill comes in next, and we cleanly one-shot it as well. I go to Gligar on a wing attack, but what I should have done was switch to Geodude and proc my Berry in order to get out of U-turn kill range. Anyways, a wing attack crit does massive damage to Gligar, but a Berry can get me back to half. Another non-crit wing attack doesn't kill, but I need to keep Gligar alive, so I make the risky play of switching to Geodude, anticipating another wing attack, but because it didn't see a kill, it Swords Dances. Now I'm 100% dead to a U-turn, so I sack Geodude to get the boosted Scyther out and reset tempo. The first death of the run is upon us. Pinsir comes in next, but it's walled by Gligar, even at half health. Because of the stupid fucking trade mechanic, it spends a turn loafing, and Vital Throw crits. Awesome. However, I'm not dead to another crit, so I can get off an Aerial Ace to bring it deep into the yellow. I then switch to Pidgeotto, which eats a Vital Throw into Knockoff and finishes the job with Pluck. Scyther comes back in, and now I'm faced with a tough choice. But I make the ballsy gamble and get an Intimidate off with Staravia, even though a crit would have killed me. I get Glaceon in on wing attack, then it Swords Dances again, but I go for Icy Wind still, and it crits, killing Scyther. Just like we drew it up. In all seriousness, my out there, had I not gotten a crit, would have been a dodge a crit from Scyther and win a speed tie after the speed drop from Icy Wind. Had that not happened, this probably would have been a wipe. This fight was sloppy, and a poor team with some lackluster planning and substandard knowledge of the AI easily could have done me in. I know now that the AI is likely to swords dance if it doesn't see a kill, but I hadn't quite grasped that when I planned for this fight. After a rival fight, I head into Ilex Forest and grab an execute. Then I go back to Azalea Town and grab Spiritomb, a phenomenal encounter which cheeses so many fights. Its typing and resulting immunities give it so many pivoting opportunities, plus it's not bad defensively and gets dual stab priority moves in Shadow Sneak and Sucker Punch to overcome its poor speed. As I head out to Goldenrod, I'm in it for Kadabra, but go in at the wrong level and get a Drowsy. My fucking god. In Goldenrod, I grab a Chimchar as I needed a fighting type for Whitney's gym. This leaves me with 3 fire starters, which you probably shouldn't pick in your run, although it works out for me in this one. My particular Chimchar is quite bad, sporting a modest nature, blaze, and attack and speed IVs of 4 and 2 respectively. Infernape absolutely has viability as a special attacker, but its superior physical move pool paired with its alternate ability Iron Fist are the best combination in this game. Despite poor IVs, Infernape is still an insane Pokemon, and Le Monkey puts in some serious work in this run. Whitney's roster of Pokemon is not super threatening. However, this fight can catch you off guard if you aren't prepared for it. She can paralyze with Body Slam and really slow your team down with Attract. Her Miltank remains a threat, being able to hit ghost types due to its scrappy ability. It can heal with Milk Drink and shake off status with a held Lumberry. Usually the best way to deal with this thing is to 1v1 it with a defensive Pokemon. Also, I don't know why this graphic has fairy types on it, but Clefable and Wigglytuff are their usual normal types in this game. Whitney leads Lickitung, which can be killed by a Focus Blast from Monferno. A held Wide Lens mitigates its poor accuracy. Lopunny comes in next, and I go to Spiritomb on the Dizzy Punch. Lopunny can't hit Spiritomb, so there's a good 1v1 opportunity here. The AI then switches to Wigglytuff on a feint attack, which does some solid chip damage. I go back to Monferno, as I know the Wigglytuff can only go for Wish, Ice Beam, or Attract, and another Focus Blast cleanly kills it. Had I gotten attracted, I could have pivoted back through Spiritomb until Monferno got in without the Wigglytuff using Attract, as having Monferno out always baits Psychic. Lopunny comes back out, and I switch to Spiritomb, but the AI switches again. It gets a free switch as I miss Hypnosis, despite also having a Wide Lens on Spiritomb. I put it to sleep as it sets up Reflect, and I start chipping with Feint Attack to stall out the Reflect turns. My dumbass decides to use Dream Eater on the turn it wakes up, and it gets an Attract off. I try to put it to sleep again, but I get immobilized by Love. Reflect is gone now, and I'm trying to 1v1 it, but I get confused from Water Pulse and continue to get immobilized. I decided to pivot through Cloister, knowing that I'm baiting Water Pulse to get Monferno in safely on a Charge Beam. I can then outspeed and kill with Focus Blast. This baits Lopunny out, so I switch to Spiritomb and fire off a Hypnosis, knowing the AI will likely go to Miltank. Miltank comes in and it takes a Hypnosis, getting rid of its Lumberry. I go to Sand Slash on a Body Slam and start fishing for defense drops with Rock Smash, which is 60 base power in this game. I start playing into some crits because Sand Slash isn't a super valuable Pokemon. I get a defense drop on the next Rock Smash, and I get greedy and try to fish for another one. Sand Slash makes an epic hold at just 1 HP, but I don't get another defense drop. Whitney heals, and I go for another one. Then, I go to Cloister on another Body Slam, and I can finish the job with Ice Beam. The defense drops were there to give us more outs had things gone wrong. The rest of this gym, Stantler and Lopunny, are handled by Spiritomb. It can slowly kill them with a combination of Hypnosis and Dream Eater. I'm also shocked I didn't get parried once on Body Slam, but we had berries equipped for that just in case. The Attract hacks were super annoying, but neither Stantler nor Lopunny could do anything to Spiritomb, meaning that no matter how much they set up, we were more than okay to stay in and kill. I grab a female Nidoran north of Ecruteak, and then in the national park amend it for a bug type. I get Pinsir, missing out on both Scyther and Heracross for the meantime. On Route 36, I get a Vulpix with Flash Fire instead of Forewarn, meaning that I miss out on Drought. This thing is pretty much useless. On Route 37, I get a Noctowl, which is a meh encounter, but certainly redundant with all the normal flying types I have in my box already. In Burn Tower, I get a Rattata, a great Pokemon for Morty, if it had the Guts ability, but instead it has Hustle, meaning that we now have to play around the accuracy reduction. I can't even begin to explain how much better Guts is than this stupid ass ability. I really wasn't pleased with my box for Morty, and was struggling to find a safe way to beat this fight. So I make a fairly desperate play, and get Magikarp from the water in Ecruteak, meaning that I miss out on Poliwag for now. Gyarados gets Bite by level up, valuable dark type coverage that my team severely lacks. There's one issue, the Magikarp I catch is level 20, the level that Gyarados learns Bite. So I don't actually get access to it, since I obviously have to level it up to evolve it. His team may not look menacing, but Morty was surprisingly difficult to plan for. My team did not have great matchups, so it was hard to plan around Sleep, Burns, and Swagger. Not to mention, the buff Sableye is surprisingly bulky, and his Gengar is absolutely terrifying. Thankfully, the solution was in front of me the entire time, in one hustling rat. I was beyond the point of trying to beat this fight with any kind of dignity, so without further ado, brace yourselves for one fight's worth of absolute cheese. The next split of the game starts with my Spiritomb dying because I was incredibly careless playing on speed up like a complete dumbass. A super preventable death and a pretty bad one at that. I pick up an Adamant Magnemite with a special attack IV of 3. Awesome. Of course, this thing is still really good because this evolutionary line is awesome. And then my Staravia can't run away from a wild Raticate and gets sent to meet Paul Walker after an Ice Fang. Another bad loss. I pick up a Ponyta shortly after. I also fish up a Staryu in Olivine City, an incredible encounter. I grab Tentacool, then Wailmer on the way to Cianwood. Once I get to Cianwood, I fish for Carvanha and I get it, but it has Rough Skin instead of Speed Boost. Chuck's team can be very threatening, but thankfully we have some phenomenal checks for his Pokemon. If a sub goes up and focus punches start coming out, this fight can get dicey, but like I said, we have solid answers for his team. Our lovely battle with Chuck begins with Starmie killing Primeape with a Psychic, which I taught via TM. A held Metronome boosts the power of my next Psychic, allowing us to kill Breloom. Hitmonchan comes in, and that's 3 down. And no, that crit didn't matter. I miss a range on Poliwrath, and it hits a Hypnosis. I stupidly pivot through Magneton on a Surf, which unbeknownst to me would have killed if it crit. But at least I'm baiting either Focus Punch or Surf to get Starmie in on. I scout to make sure, and it goes for another Surf. I can safely get Starmie in, and the sleep will be gone because of Natural Cure. The issue here is that I misclick and Surf heals the Poliwrath because of Water Absorb. This is the first of several times in this run I decided to throw for content. It then gets another Hypnosis off, so I go to Gyarados on a Surf, and then back to Starmie on another Surf. I finally kill it with Psychic, and Hariyama comes in and hits a Fake Out, meaning that I would no longer have the power to kill with Psychic because of the flinch. Gliscor handles it nicely, however, and gets in for free on Earthquake. 2 Aerial Aces can take it out. Hitmonlee gets one-tapped by another one, and that's the battle. The next part of the game requires us to enter the first of 3 rocket splits. These gauntlets are pretty intense. With this particular one, there's a series of AI tag battles, and while these fights aren't crazy hard, they can catch you off guard if you aren't prepared. The first one of these is with Mira, who can put in work with Porygon, Togetic, and Alakazam. Buck's team of Umbreon, Claydol, and Torgal is interesting, and the double evolution lead goes crazy in this fight. After beating this fight, we unlock 2 additional encounters. First, Route 47, where I fish and get a Chinchou, and it has Volt Absorb. This thing is absolutely insane as a pivot and special wall, while also dealing respectable damage. VA Lantern is fantastic. I get Kingler and Cliff Cave, arguably the worst Pokemon of the encounter pool here. There are also 2 admin fights here, and our first one with Petrol kicks off with a bang. I completely forgot about Raticate's speed buff and assumed my Infernape outsped, but the 2 speed IV came in handy and I inadvertently ended up dodging a Hyper Fang crit. Never punished, I guess. I go to Lantern on a wing attack from Golbat and Thunderbolt to bring it into the red. It hits a Super Fang and another Thunderbolt kills. Skuntank comes in next and we switch to Nidoqueen on a Poison Jab. I tank a Double Edge, then dig. It doesn't kill, but I know that we narrowly live a Night Slash crit, so I dig again and take it out. Hypno takes a Fire Blast into a Sludge Bomb crit, and Psybeam brings it into the yellow. Hypno's massive special bulk lets us live a hit like that, but its poor special attack means that we can't kill the Weezing. I pivot through Gabite to ensure that it doesn't go for a Thunderbolt, and then go to Starmie, which can comfortably eat a Sludge Bomb on the switch and kill with Psychic, and that's the Petrol fight. Our next tag battle is with Cheryl, who sports a team of Drifblim, Wobbuffet, and Blissey. This fight can be somewhat tricky, as Cheryl's Pokemon don't really deal much damage. Hail comes up, and I actually get trapped by Sand Tomb, which was something I was not anticipating. There's a few scenarios where this fight can get dicey, but it's pretty manageable for the most part. Following this fight, we have another tag battle with Marley, who uses Sneasel, Ninjask, and Arcanine. The first turn Boom was a little scary, but we were safe because of spread damage. Her Sneasel and Ninjask are quite frail and really not great doubles Pokemon, but her Arcanine puts in work. Ninjask gets pretty much shredded in this fight, but regardless, it's largely smooth sailing. The final of our 2 admin fights awaits us. Ariana can be pretty tough in this game, packing some serious power. I lead Starmie with the Twisted Spoon, which can outspeed and one-shot the buffed Arbok. This baits Vileplume in, which is walled by Drifblim, but it's really not because Drifblim sucks, and it still takes a decent chunk from a resisted Petal Dance. I do pretty pitiful damage with Air Cutter, and Petal Dance continues. I was pretty close to being dead to a crit there. I do what I should have done all along and just switch to Charizard on Petal Dance and kill it with Flamethrower. Jinx comes in, and I don't outspeed, so I have to switch. I pivot Tenta expecting Blizzard, but just get Lovely Kissed. Now I bait a Psychic, which means I can get Crawdon in for free. I'm never dead to a crit from Blizzard because of Shell Armor, so I'm safe to use Night Slash. It just goes for Fake Tears, but a held Lumberry would have healed Sleep or Freeze from Blizzard. Night Slash obliterates it. Her last Pokemon is Honchkrow, which threatens with Stab Brave Birds that do massive damage. I hard switch to Lantern, which gets Swaggered. A held Lumberry heals it off. It uses Swagger again, and I hit myself in confusion. I decided to make the safer play and sack Crawdon to get Lantern back in. It eats a Brave Bird, protects, and then goes down. Crawdon is not a super high value Pokemon, so it's really not a big loss. Honchkrow has taken enough recoil damage to put it well within range of a Thunderbolt kill, so Lantern comes back in and gets Swaggered yet again, but hits through, finally, and gets the KO. I really should have brought Magneton to this fight instead of Drifblim, but you live and you learn. The final fight and final tag battle in this split is with Riley. Riley sports a team of Absol, Lucario, and Ursaring, 2 of which can be one-shot by Zangoose's close combat. This may give you an opportunity to focus the other side, but if you can't sweep it, this easily turns into a 2v1 that can have a Dragon Dancing Gyarados staring you in the face. If you can neuter the Zangoose, the AI will act much more randomly, and you can focus the Grunt side without the chance of a 2v1. Archer's side is much scarier, so in an ideal world, you can get a 1v1 with his side. I lead Gyarados to double Intimidate and stop the AI from seeing kills with Zangoose. I immediately switch to Charizard as Zangoose detects. Scyther hits a Crit Slash and Absol Swords Dances. Zangoose hits a Crush Claw and a Charizard, and Scyther hits a Fury Cutter on Absol. Zard gets a Flamethrower off, killing Scyther. Absol demolishes Zangoose with a Night Slash crit. Kind of not ideal, actually. Then Archer goes Gyarados and the Grunt goes Mawile. Lantern is pretty safe here though, and Mawile targets Absol as Gyarados goes for Bounce. A slow T-Bolt will kill here. Riley actually switches his Lucario in on the Bounce, which brings him into the yellow and paras him. Thunderbolt kills Gyarados, and then Houndoom comes in, seeing a kill on Lucario. Lucario gets Fire Blasted, then Surf does solid damage. Ursaring gets Fire Blasted, and I kill all 3 other Pokemon on the field with another Surf. We now have a 2v1 on Grand Bull. We double team it and kill it. I have a lovely encounter in the Safari Zone, which has awesome mechanics, and then grab a naughty Absol on Route 48, a pretty mid Pokemon that, for what it's worth, gets some good matchups in this game and can deal solid damage. Jasmine's team has some glaring weaknesses, but she can heavily mitigate them with Rain Dance on her heat-proof Bronzong. A fast, special attacking fire type does great work here, but in order for that to work well, you need to be able to control the weather, wall the Bronzong, and get your fire type back in safely while dealing with her good coverage. Having a Drought Ninetales would have been great here. Jasmine leads Matang, which is not quite as threatening as its evolved sibling. Typhlosion can outspeed and kill it with a single Lava Plume. Steelix comes out next and is also one-tapped by the Stab super effective Lava Plume. Bronzong comes out next, and I get Sharpedo in on a Hypnosis, but I had to Berry just in case I didn't dodge it. I taunt it to stop it from setting up Rain, and Crunch, that would normally be a 3-hit KO, becomes a 2-hit KO because of Rough Skin damage. I pivot through Gliscor as Magneton comes out, getting in for free on Thunderbolt. I switch in Typhlosion on a Magnet Rise and outspeed and kill the Magneton. The Exploding Fortress comes in and dies to a Stab, 4 times super effective Lava Plume. Skarmory protects and then goes down to Flamethrower, which Typhlosion learns at level 42. I head out toward Mahogany Town and grab Flaffy on Route 42. I manip in the bottom of Mount Mortar for a shot at a pseudo-legendary and grab Pupitar. Tyranitar is insane in this Elite Four and post-game, so this, quite obviously, is a phenomenal encounter. It also has a careful special defense boosted nature, which is great paired with Sandstream. Spoiler alert, but this thing makes an awesome T-Tar. I hatch a Riolu egg over in Mahogany Town, and yeah, Lucario is also pretty great in this game. We surf on Route 43 for Slowpoke, another awesome encounter. Slowbro is another potential Elite Four bring, acting as a physical wall that is far from passive. At the Lake of Rage, I catch a Feebas, which of course evolves into Milotic, a fantastic special wall that can also up its physical bulk with Marvel Scale. The Rocket Hideout is the next challenge in this game. It begins with a sequence of 5 of these back-to-back grunt fights where you can't change your team or heal. There's a bunch of grunt battles in here after, and plenty of stuff that can blow up, status, and trap you with Mean Look and Shadow Tag. There are also 2 admin fights here, one single battle and another with our good friend Patrell. Patrell leads Skuntank and I lead Gabite. I know it sees the most damage with Dig, and my slower Gabite kills with 2 digs, so I go for the slow dig play. It goes for dig, and so do I, and by underspeeding it, I can hit a free dig. The AI throws and does the same thing again, letting me get a free kill on Skuntank without taking a single point of damage. I go to Lucario when Raticate comes out, and it takes big damage from Double Edge, more than I expected. I don't know how I am so simultaneously good at knowing exact ranges and rolls, and then so equally clueless about certain moves when all I had to do was make a few more clicks in the calculator. Anywho, I go Magnezone, which takes the Double Edge just much better. I take another as I'm narrowly not dead to a crit, and a berry brings me back over half. Thunderbolt sends Raticate to meet its maker. Toxicroak comes out, and I go Slowbro on a cross chop. I slack off to get out of Sucker Punch crit range, and the play pays off. I take a sucker punch, and a wide lens assisted Zen headbutt kills the 4 times weak fighting frog thing. I switch in Lantern on a sludge bomb, and then just realize that Magnezone walls this thing, so I bring it in. I take an aerial ace, and Thunderbolt narrowly doesn't kill, and then Crobat U-turns out. Weezy takes over half on a Thunderbolt, and Hypno comes in on Fire Blast, and it eats a crit. I had a Culver Berry on Hypno for Dark Pulse to deal with it, but now I have to go Lantern on the incoming Dark Pulse, and Thunderbolt just misses out on the kill. Lantern takes a Sludge Bomb, gets poisoned, and finishes the job. Crit into poison would have screwed me here. Magnezone comes back in to finish Crobat, and does so with ease. The last fight in this split is a tag battle with Lance against Grunt and Ariana. Both Lance's Dragonair and Aerodactyl can do serious damage. He's generally a good partner. A Starmie and Dragonair lead comes out against Hypno and Arbok. Arbok is the most threatening Pokemon here, so I attack it first, killing it with Psychic. Dragonair hits a D-Pulse and a Hypno, which headbutts Starmie. Honchkrow comes in next, and I bring in Magnezone. Honchkrow Dark Pulses into Magnezone's slot. Dragonair D-Pulses again into Hypno, which headbutts Dragonair. Honchkrow kills Dragonair with a Brave Bird, so Hypno's headbutt goes into Magnezone's slot. Magnezone lets out a Thunderbolt to take Honchkrow out. If you couldn't tell, I've been focusing the right side so far, but then Aerodactyl ruins my plan and crunches Hypno, while Tri-Attack does mediocre damage on Vileplume. Aerodactyl now baits the other Magnezone in, meaning that I'm trapped from Magnet Pull. I protect first turn, hoping that Aerodactyl can hit Magnezone, and it does, but Fire Fang does not do nearly as much as I'd hoped. Magnet Bomb does do damage on Aero, as Vileplume sets up yet another growth. Another Fire Fang from Aero does solid damage and burns, while Magnet Bomb low rolls Aero. Tri-Attack does more chip to Vileplume, and Vileplume finishes Aero off with a boosted Giga Drain. I'm now in a 2v1 and trapped. I try attacking a Vileplume again, hoping for status, but nothing happens. Magnet Bomb does nothing, and Vileplume misses a Sleep Powder. The other Magnezone Magnet Bombs, and I try attack Vileplume again. No status, and it sets up another growth to get to +3. The other Magnezone then goes down to its burn, meaning that I'm no longer trapped. Muck comes out, which Magnezone walls, so I keep wearing down Vileplume and finally kill it. Lucario comes in on a Shadow Punch, and a Swords Dance into Bone Rush can take the Muck out with ease. Price's team presents some very big threats. He has Hazards, Weather, Explosion, Perish Song Trapping, and a fuck ton of coverage to boot. On paper, this fight is intimidating, but in practice, there's a very easy way to blow an absolute hole in this team. Enter one choice-banded monkey.
Look, I be riding through my old hood, but I'm in my new whip. Same old attitude, but I'm on that new shit. They say they gon' ride me, see me never do shit, cause they know that's the reason they gon' end up on the news clip. Audemars on my wrist, bust down, we popping bottles like I scored.
The next split of the game takes us to the Radio Tower, the final rocket split where you fight all 4 admins in Giovanni, as well as your rival in the Goldenrod Underground. This is the first, serious rival battle in the entire game, and it can get pretty tricky. In addition to this, there's a hefty number of grunt battles. Also, the final fights with Archer and Giovanni are done gauntlet style, meaning that you can't change items, your team, or your lead in between the fights. This is, in my opinion, the toughest split in the entire game, and the last back-to-back is an absolute run killer. The first admin fight is with Petrol, who we've had a number of run-ins with thus far. He leads Raticate, and I give my Infernape just enough levels to outspeed and kill with close combat. Hypno comes in next, and I go Sharpedo and use Taunt to stop it from statusing my Sharpedo if I miss the range on Crunch. I hit the range though, so it didn't really matter. Tangrowth comes in next, which is known Zard food. Charizard comes in on Power Whip, Tangrowth protects, and then the specially weak Grass type gets shredded by a Flamethrower. Toxicroak comes in next, seeing Stone Edge. I switch in Slowbro, who eats it comfortably. I get hit with Toxic, which is healed off by a held Pecha Berry, and then a Zen Headbutt kills it. Skuntank comes out, which is walled by Magnezone. I come in on Toxic, and it hits a Crunch, which drops defense. Thunderbolt brings it under half, and I protect anticipating a potential boom. It protects as well, meaning that what I did was fucking useless. I attack again, and Skuntank tries to double protect and dies to Thunderbolt. Weezing is the last Pokemon out, also walled by Magnezone. I paralyze it, and it starts spamming protect as I hit it low with Thunderbolt. I get a second one to connect, and the fight ends. After Patrol, we go straight to the Goldenrod Underground and fight our rival. He leads Honchkrow, I lead Magnezone. He protects, then hits a Drill Peck before getting fried by Thunderbolt. Taxman goes Magmar, so I bring in Milo on a Flamethrower. He ever so nicely hits a Will-O-Wisp to put me in Marvel Scale as I retaliate with a powerful Hydro Pump assisted by a Wide Lens. It gets the KO, and Electabuzz comes in, and Garchomp gets in free on the electric move. A Soft Sand assisted Dig takes it out. Feraligatr comes out, threatening with Ice Fang, and then the AI pulls an Uno reverse card and Swords Dances on the switch. Lantern gets in, and it shouldn't see a kill with any other move, and it doesn't, as it Swords Dances again. A Choice Specs Thunderbolt knocks it out. Gengar comes in, and I go Absol on a Hypnosis, which I heal off with a Berry. I Sucker Punch, then it misses a Hypnosis, then I get a Sucker Punch off to kill it. Zam comes in next, and the MO is the exact same. Click Sucker Punch. I get T-Waved, and now I'm in a predicament. I'm somewhat safe to stay in, but if I get full parried into an Energy Ball, high roll crit, I get screwed. I click Sucker Punch again, and well, just watch for yourself. I'm able to revenge kill with Garchomp after eating a Psychic and finish up the battle. The second admin fight is a rematch with our old friend Proton. Proton needs Electrode, but a Choice Scarf Garchomp can outspeed it. I dig, hoping for a first turn boom, but it Rain Dances, then protects. It protects again, and protects again. What the fuck? It hit 3 in a row. It goes for a fourth and fails, and my dig finally connects, killing Electrode, but also hurting me with Aftermath. Cacturne comes in, and I go Gliscor on Focus Blast. I then U-turn to kill Cacturne and get Starmie in for free. Weezing comes out, but Starmie outspeeds and kills it with Psychic. Tauros comes out next, and I switch to Gliscor, which eats 2 takedowns and slow U-turns to get Slowbro in for free. Slowbro eats a takedown and then kills with Surf. Crobat comes in, and I switch to Lantern, which eats a crit Brave Bird. I decide to attack, knowing that I have to dodge a crit from Cross Poison, and Lantern holds, baby. That fucking fish never let me down. Thunderbolt kills Crobat, Camerupt comes in, and I switch to Garchomp on a Stone Edge. I go for Dig, Earth Power misses, and I take out the Camel to finish the fight. Ariana is up next, a more threatening opponent. She leads Jinx, and my Scarf Sharpedo, thank you Zero Speed IV, can outspeed and kill with Crunch. Vileplume comes out next, and it should see a kill with the Stab super effective Giga Drain, but of course I get Typhlosion in on a Sludge Bomb that poisons. Well, I'm pretty fucked here if I miss a range on Flamethrower, and of course I do, so Typhlosion goes down to a Sludge Bomb followed by poison damage. I get Gliscor in, chip with Night Slash, and then fast U-turn out to Magnezone, which gets hit by a Sleep Powder. I go back to Gliscor on Drain Punch and miss a range to kill with Dig. I end up dodging a crit on Giga Drain, and another Dig kills. Milotic comes in next, which is walled by Lantern, who comes in on a Surf. I get Toxic by Milo and retaliate with a Thunderbolt, bringing it below half. I take another Surf, and Thunderbolt takes Milotic out. Arbok comes out, and Gliscor comes back in on Earthquake, and Dig takes it out. Ontro comes in next, and it Sucker Punches before I U-turn out. Magnezone walls this thing, so I spend a few turns shaking off sleep before I can deep fry it with a Thunderbolt. Perugly comes out last, and Lucario can come in on a Protect, shake off a Body Slam Para with a Berry, and kill with Aura Sphere. This final gauntlet with Archer and Giovanni is the hardest fight in the game. As I mentioned earlier, you need the same team, same lead, and same items for both fights. This back-to-back is tough. Things usually die here. Our battle with Archer begins with Zangoose. but my Scarf Lucario outspeeds and kills with an Aura Sphere. Machamp comes out, it goes for Earthquake, letting me get Zard in for free. I then outspeed and hit a Specs Air Slash to KO. Gyarados comes out, and I get Slowbro in on a Waterfall crit. I go to Gliscor as the Gyarados goes for Bounce. I'm choice baited to kill with Thunderfang, and I stupidly forget that I outspeed it, so I miss and then bounce Paras, rendering Gliscor useless for the remainder of this fight. I was trying to bait the Earthquake, but Bounce was more damage, so this was a stupid play through and through. I go back to Slowbro on Ice Fang, and I can slack off on the bounce turn and chip with Zen Headbutt when it comes down, which is exactly what I do. The AI then switches, bringing in Drapion as I slack off again, giving me a free turn of healing. I go to Glaceon on a crunch, eat another one, and then try to hit a range with Earth Power, which I of course miss. It heals with a berry, and so did I. I take another crunch and finish the job with another Earth Power. Scizor comes in next, and I bring in Zard on Bullet Punch, which can outspeed and kill with Flamethrower. This baits Gyarados back in, and Slowbro comes back in on a Waterfall, and Gyarados goes for Bounce again, as I chip again with Zen Headbutt. Archer switches to Houndoom on a Slack Off, as I bring in Infernape on a Dark Pulse. I close combat, break the Sash, eat a Fire Blast, dodge a crit that I shouldn't have had to because I should have broken the Sash with Flamethrower to not drop my defense, then close combat again to finish off Houndoom. Gyarados comes in for the last time, Gyarados bounces and misses, and I get a good roll on Zen Headbutt to finally take it out. Now, on to Giovanni. He leads Persian, which hits a fake out on Lucario, but my beautiful furry mascot is unfazed because of inner focus and delivers the killing blow with Aura Sphere. Rhyperior comes in next, and because I needed the Scarf to outrun the Zangoose, I don't have quite enough firepower to kill Rhyperior. It's 50-50 to use EQ or Hammer Arm, and my Slowbro doesn't outspeed, so I go to Gliscor to scout, and luckily it goes Hammer Arm, which drops its speed, meaning that Slowbro can outrun it now. So I switch to Slowbro on Stone Edge and dodge a crit, but I can now outspeed and kill with Surf. Kangaskhan comes in, and I try to 1v1 it with Gliscor, but it takes a shit ton from Double Edge. I bring in Lucario on another Double Edge and kill with close combat. Nidoking comes out next, threatening with Earthquake, so I go Gliscor into Glaceon to get in on Ice Beam. I can kill both Nidos with Ice Beam, but there's one problem. I did not realize I was in crit range of Earthquake, and holy shit did I get punished. Ted Lasso meets the Queen of England in an unfortunate passing. Gliscor can revenge kill with a crit choice banded dig. A non-crit was a range, so this actually mattered. I did proc Poison Point, of course. Nidoqueen is next, and I go for the kill, but the range is much lower on the bulkier Nidoqueen, and I miss it, meaning that I get cooked by Ice Beam. It was my only play. I needed to do damage on Nidoqueen, and Gliscor goes down valiantly like her namesake. I bring in Furry Bait for a revenge kill, but Giovanni heals, so Aura Sphere doesn't really do shit. I go Zard on Earth Power, and Specs Flamethrower does a good chunk as Nidoqueen uses Toxic. It protects, and then I kill with another Flamethrower. Zard baits Stone Edge from Tauros, giving me a safe switch to Lucario. Scarf Lucario can outspeed and kill with Aura Sphere to finish the job. This fight got fucking goddamn scary. I was not bullshitting when I said this split was hard. After the Radio Tower saga, I pick up a Poliwag with Damp, meaning that it would turn into a Drizzle Politoed, a rain setter which makes it automatically good. I'm lucky enough to get a Swinub and Ice Path, a sick encounter because Mamoswine is based and awesome. I get the guaranteed Skarmory on 45, the perfect Gliscor replacement, a physical wall with some unique immunities. Skarmory also gets Rockhead and Brave Bird in this game, making it a serious attacking threat as well. My last stop before heading into Claire's gym is the Whirl Islands, where I grab a Horsey and I can immediately level it up, delay for a few moves, and evolve it into Kingdra. Claire is, in my opinion, one of the harder gym fights in this game. Her team has some holes, but is overall solid, sporting a lot of coverage. The Dragonairs can status and deal respectable damage, while Gyarados has serious sweeping potential. Dragon Dance Gyarados can wipe you in pretty much any fight, and this one is no exception. Altaria sports some impressive special bulk and fire coverage, while Salamence and Kingdra are her two premier special attackers. Salamence has a White Herb, letting it get off multiple Draco Meteors with 0 penalty. Her Kingdra has Sniper, meaning that nothing lives a crit from it. Claire leads Dragonair, which is outsped and killed by Ice Fang from Mamoswine. Gyarados comes in next, seeing big damage with Waterfall, but it pulls a trap card and Dragon Dances on a switch to Starmie. I now have to dodge a crit from Outrage to kill with Thunderbolt. I go for it and Starmie holds. But of course, Thunderbolt was a range that I missed. I honestly assumed it killed, but here we are. If I had just attached a magnet or even choice specs, we would have been okay. Poor planning, people. Now I'm in a predicament. I don't know if the AI can heal during Outrage turns, so if I switch to Magnezone and it heals, I just get shredded by Earthquake. It's a big gamble, so I take the safe play and sack Starmie to get Magnezone in when Outrage ends post second turn. This was objectively the wrong play, as she can't heal during Outrage, meaning that she would either be locked in on a resisted move when Magnezone came in, or healing after the second turn. Her Outrage ends, and I get Magnezone in on the healing turn, killing with Thunderbolt. This baits in Salamence, seeing big damage with Fire Blast, giving me a safe switch to Scarf Milotic. I need Milo to hit a range with Ice Beam, and we miss it, but get the freeze. Another Ice Beam kills the Frozen Ments. The second Dragonair comes in, and another Ice Beam puts it in the yellow and freezes it as well. Another Ice Beam takes it out. Altaria comes in with its strong special bulk, so I ask Milo to hit another range, which it actually does. Kingdra is last, so I bring in Dustox to sacrifice for a free switch to Garchomp. There's just one problem. This absolute chat of a Dustox had zero intentions of dying today.
أمة الإسلام بشرى إننا نلمح فجرا في شباب قد أشادوا صحوة للدين كبرى أمة الإسلام بشرى إننا نلمح فجرا في شباب قد أشادوا صحوة للدين كبرى وبإذن الله تأتي وثبة تجلب نصرا وثبة عظمى لجيل.
There's a few things to be done before the Elite Four. First, I grab the not E-Speed Dratini from the Dragon's Den. Then it's time to fight the Kimono Girls. While the Evolution Gauntlet is intriguing, it's ultimately pretty easy. Umbreon is hailed by Lucario, and the rest of the evolutions are killed by Gutswellow, which I actually got some use out of in this split of the game. I Master Ball Lugia in Whirl Islands, and then begin the quest toward the Pokemon League. First, I get Quagsire in Toho Falls, which has Unaware and Adamant nature, making this a very solid encounter. Next, I pick up a Houndour, which will have Intimidate upon evolution. This puppy also sports a modest nature, making it a potential candidate for the Elite Four. I also get Kangaskhan on Route 28, which is a decent encounter. There's a few tough trainers before Victory Road, and I run into a Porygon Z. I have my Garchomp out, and instead of using Protect against a Pokemon that may have Ice coverage, I just click Dig and get absolutely shredded by Ice Beam. Yeah, Garchomp can live some non-stab Ice Beams, but not one from a Pokemon that has a special attack stat as high as Porygon Z's. Once again, I am severely punished for being a dumbass on Speed Up. Garchomp was going to fit right in on the Elite Four team I was cooking up, and is an insane Pokemon regardless, so this is objectively a horrific loss. I also grab a Steelix in Victory Road before the next viral fight. A great physical wall, but we're past the point in the game where it's most useful. Our last fight before the Elite Four begins with a Honchkrow once again, who nasty plots off an Ice Fang miss, but a second Ice Fang connects and cleanly knocks it out. Magmortar comes out, and I get Kingdra in on a quad-resisted Fire Blast. It misses a Focus Blast, and then gets absolutely nuked by a Hydro Pump. Alakazam comes in. As I switch Exeggutor in on a Psychic, I take another Psychic and Giga Drain to do solid chip damage and heal as well. I play into a crit, but go unpunished, and take out the Zam with another Giga Drain. Gengar comes in after, seeing a kill with Shadow Ball, and I get Kangaskhan in for free on the incoming Ghost-type move. Then a Choice Banded Sucker Punch can take out the Gengar. I get Quagsire in as Electivire sets up a light screen. Quagsire can comfortably eat an Earthquake and then kill Electivire with an Earthquake of its own. Feraligatr comes in last, and I use Skarmory to counter it. I take a Waterfall and then start dishing out damage with Brave Bird. I take another and get it in the yellow with another Brave Bird. Then I go to Kingdra, knowing I was dead to a crit from Waterfall, and I can take it out with a Draco Meteor. Sacred Gold and Storm Silver's Elite Four presents a difficult challenge. This is the apex of any Pokemon game. The Elite Four in this ROM hack can be fought in any order prior to the champion fight, so you can pick your preferred matchups first. This game gives you plenty of good encounters, so making the optimal team does take some planning, but here's what I came up with. First, 2 Pokemon named in honor of the best in the game. Cockjuicer the Tyranitar is the perfect Pokemon for this Elite Four. It gets plenty of good type matchups while boasting pseudo-legendary stats, a wide move pool, and an ability which work together to allow Tyranitar to be the Swiss Army knife of this team. Tyranitar has a massive attack stat, so this thing obviously deals damage, but it can take physical hits as well. Sandstream and a special defense boosting nature allow this thing to be an excellent special wall, and access to Dragon Dance gives it sweeping potential in any fight. Nurse the Slowbro is a stout physical wall, sporting massive defense. It also gets access to healing via Slack Off, and powerful offensive stabs in Water and Psychic. Slowbro's strong special attack stat makes it a great Ice Beam user as well. This thing is a defensive Pokemon with serious offensive viability. Pogging the Gyarados is a multi-purpose weapon. Gyarados is my Intimidator, and with unique typing and a ground immunity, it has excellent synergy with this team. It also has sweeping potential like Tyranitar and Dragon-type coverage to help out with Lance. This Pokemon can bait electric moves into I Love Volt Absorb the Lantern. This thing is an insane pivot that has generational synergy with Gyarados. Lantern, of course, gives us an electric immunity that it can heal itself with, excellent bulk, and strong stabs as well. Lantern can do respectable damage if it needs to. Birdie, the Skarmory, is another excellent physical wall, one of the best in the entire game. Skarmory can switch in on pretty much any physical move and heal itself with Roost. Additionally, it gets access to Stab, Rockhead, Brave Bird, so this thing can do massive damage with zero consequence. Skarmory is unbelievably good in this game. Furry Bait the Lucario is my team's premier special attacker. Its typing is great for Karen, and this thing deals serious damage. It doesn't get a crazy amount of use in this Elite Four, but it is exceptionally valuable in the role that it plays. Hopefully, this team of 6 stragglers can take on Johto's finest. I decided to begin with Will and go in regular order, but there's an issue. I totally forgot that going into this fight, I needed to give Tyranitar another level to outspeed the Jinx with Choice Scarf and sweep all of Will's team. I was not supposed to fight Will first. Jinx hits a Focus Blast that Tyranitar eats because of the special defense boost. Having Battle Armor actually would have fucked me here, but I digress. Now I have to play on my feet, Gung-Ho style. After I kill the Jinx, Slowbro comes out, seeing a kill with Surf. I switch to Lantern on the Surf and try to do big damage with Thunderbolt. I get it into the yellow, then it uses Amnesia. Will heals after Sandstorm Chip, and I obviously don't do as much, but I get the para. Slowbro gets full parried as I hit another Thunderbolt, and then I'm able to finish the job with another. Lunatone comes in next, and I go to Gyarados on Earth Power. I can then outspeed and kill with Stab's super effective Waterfall. Solrock comes in next, threatening with Stone Edge, but another Waterfall from Gyarados can take it out. Gardevoir comes in next, seeing big damage with Thunderbolt. I want to pivot through Lantern to Tyranitar so I can get in on the Psychic. Lantern gets healed from Volt Absorb, but Tyranitar gets in on a Reflect, meaning that I cannot kill with Crunch. I go to Slowbro to try and keep baiting Thunderbolts to stall out Reflect. I finally stall it out, so I go to Lantern to try and get Tyranitar in, but it sets up another Reflect. I end up stalling it to put it in kill range of Crunch through Reflect and take it out. Crunch does big damage into the incoming Xatu, and I get parried, but we are safe to stay in as Reflect finally wears off. This thing really can't hit me for much. I take unserious damage from Heat Wave as I proc full para. I take another Heat Wave, and I wasn't even risking a crit, lol, and I kill with Crunch. This was a messy fight, but shit, I got out without losing anything. Next up is Koga, the Poison type Elite Four member, who leads Venomoth, the now Psychic type bug. Anywho, a Choice Scarf Brave Bird from Skarmory gets rid of it immediately. Toxicroak comes in and shudders in anticipation, shitting bricks as it knows another Stab super effective Brave Bird sends it to the Pokemon equivalent of playing professional basketball in Taiwan. Tyranitar comes in on a Heat Wave miss from Crobat. Crobat double teams as I Dragon Dance, but now I have to get this thing out of the fight before it just becomes impossible to kill. Crobat hits a Neck Scissor as I kill it with the now Rock type Strength, giving Rock types the ever so valuable 100% accuracy move. The incoming Tentacruel just gets shredded by Earthquake, and then Muck comes out seeing Focus Punch, but also goes down to an Earthquake. Weezing is last, which is handled by 2 crunches from Tyranitar with the Toxic slapped in between that was healed off with a Berry. Pretty easy fight, but that's the power of Pseudo Legends and Dragon Dance. We now go straight into Bruno, the Fighting type Elite Four member. He leads with his intimidating Hitmontop, so I lead Slowbro to try and bait Fake Out or Sucker Punch for a safe switch to Skarmory. I weirdly bait Counter, which works as well, so I'm not complaining. Then we do the old magic trick and click Brave Bird to put Bruno's Hitmontop on a t-shirt. Hitmonlee gets absolutely shredded by another Brave Bird, and Hariyama takes one, tries to sub and fails. Bruno heals, and then Hariyama goes down to another 2 Brave Birds from Skarmory. Hitmonchan comes in next, and well, you guessed it, it dies to a Brave Bird. Machamp is second to last out, and I click Brave Bird knowing I have to hit a range. I miss the range, and it heals with a berry. I know I have to dodge one roll of crit from Thunder Punch from Machamp, and Skarmory holds strong. My 400th Brave Bird of the day can take it out. Lastly, Lucario comes in, so I decided to make the audacious choice of switching Pokemon as I bring Gyarados in on an Aura Sphere crit. I take a Psychic, and then kill Lucario with a Soft Sand boosted Earthquake from Gyarados. The last Elite Four member is the Dark-type Master Karen. Karen leads with a buffed Mightyena, threatening with Intimidate and Fire Fang, but a Specs boosted Aura Sphere can cleanly one-shot it. Houndoom comes in next, seeing Heat Wave, so I bring in the Juicer. It takes a Heat Wave crit, and with a Scarf, I can outspeed and retaliate with super effective Stab Strength. Spiritomb is out next, and I can kill with 2 strengths as it goes for Nasty Plot, allowing me to dodge Silver Wind and a potential Omni Boost. Absol is next, and I go Lucario on Mega Horn. I heal some of it off with lefties and retaliate with Aura Sphere, securing the KO. Honchkrow is next, so I bring Cock Juicer back in on a Brave Bird and fire back with another Strength. Umbreon is last, which is walled by Lucario. Umbreon double teams, but we have the perfect move to counter it in Aura Sphere. Umbreon spends a bunch of turns protecting as I slowly wear it down with Aura Spheres. Karen heals at a later point, and we can finally kill it with another series of Aura Spheres. Lance is the only thing keeping us from the post game, and the Dragon-type Master is one formidable opponent. He leads Gyarados as I lead Shukaberry Lantern. Gyarados goes for Stone Edge weirdly instead of Earthquake, as Lantern hits hard and kills it with a stab 4 times super effective Thunderbolt. Garchomp comes in next, seeing Earthquake, and I Intimidate Pivot through Gyarados to drop its attack and switch into Slowbro on Dragon Claw. With Never Melt Ice, Ice Beam can one-shot the Garchomp as we take an Earthquake in the process. Lucario gets in on a miss from Stone Edge from Aerodactyl, and then we tank an Aerial Ace, which we are never dead to a crit from. With Iron Plate, Flash Cannon is a guaranteed kill. I go to Gyarados on a Flare Blitz from Charizard and Dragon Dance while it uses Focus Blast. I can then take out the Zard with Stab, super effective Waterfall. The first of Lance's Dragonites comes out next, so I go to Tyranitar and a Draco Meteor, and as it starts to lower its special attack, I start to Dragon Dance. I get a second Dragon Dance off as Dragonite goes for another Draco Meteor and start attacking, killing with Strength. Lance's second Dragonite comes out, his final Pokemon, and a Strength takes care of business, winning me the fight and a deathless Elite Four. Storm Silver's back 9 is largely different from its first 8 badges. It's a big boss rush full of new encounters. You'll probably have more deaths in this split of the game, but the abundance of encounters you'll get will more than make up for it. You have to fight the Kanto leaders in order, so we trek back to Pewter City in order to start the post game. Brock is up first, who threatens with his team of rock types. He's fucking free though. He leads Omastar, and a Choice Specs Aura Sphere from Furry Bait absolutely shreds it. Golem is out next, but its putrid special defense makes it no match for Furry Bait. Aura Sphere takes care of business. Brock's ace, Onix, is out next, which has a Sash and Explosion. I switch to Skarmory to break the Sash. I get in for free on Earthquake, and then take a Stone Edge while I chip with Night Slash. I'm baiting Stone Edge, so I know I can switch to Lucario safely. I get in on a Stone Edge crit, and then retaliate with another Aura Sphere. Relicanth is out next, threatening with solid coverage and strong stab moves, but Aura Sphere handles business. Sudowoodo is out next, and I do the unthinkable and click Aura Sphere. Kabutops is last, and it dies too. Say it with me, Aura Sphere. Next up in the boss rush is our final fight in Mount Moon with the Taxman. He leads Honchkrow as I bring out the Cock Juicer. I set up a Dragon Dance as Honchkrow Thunder Waves, but a Held Berry can heal it off. I can now outspeed and kill with Strength. Electivire is out next, but it goes down to a +1 super effective Earthquake. Feraligatr is out next, and I switch in Slowbro on Aqua Tail. It goes for Earthquake as I start to bring it down with Psychic. With leftovers and slack off, I can eat Earthquakes and stay healthy as I wear Feraligatr down. Another Psychic brings it into the red, then I slack off to let Sandstorm Chip finish the job, eating another Earthquake in the process. Gengar is out next, so I pivot through Quagsire on Thunderbolt to get Aerodactyl in on a Shadow Ball, which it comfortably takes because of the special defense boost from Sandstorm. I can then outspeed and kill it with a Choice Banded Crunch. Magmortar is out next, so I go to Quagsire on a Thunderbolt. I attack with Earthquake, and Magmortar misses a Focus Blast in the process, so I comfortably get the kill. Alakazam is out last, and I go to Aerodactyl on Energy Ball, which can comfortably eat it. I outspeed and kill with another Crunch. That's the last of the Taxman. And the next two gyms can be summarized in a montage that will begin right about now. The fourth gym fight in the boss rush is Janine, the daughter of Koga who also rocks poison types. I lead Infernape, which burns Ariados to a crisp with Stab's super effective flamethrower. Quillfish is out next, and I bring in Magnezone, which gets T-Waved on the switch. I tank a Surf, and then retaliate with Thunderbolt, getting the one-shot KO. Toxicroak gets in next, so I go to Slowbro on a cross-chop miss. I tank a Poison Jab, and then kill it with Stab 4x super effective Psychic. Drapion is in next, and I switch to Quagsire on a Cross Poison, eat a Crunch, and then kill with Choice Banded Earthquake. Venomoth comes in next, and I get Infernape in on a Giga Drain. I'm going to outspeed and kill with Flare Blitz, as Flamethrower was arranged, but I forgot that my Infernape is slow as shit and I get hit with the Psychic. Thankfully, I eat it with the Payapa Berry, but I end up dying to Flare Blitz recoil. That was ugly. I get Alakazam in for free as Weezing comes out, and I can outspeed and kill with the Psychic. I get to Celadon City, and now we have to face the 5th gym leader, Erica. Erica has a team of grass types and leads with a Jump Bluff that loves to set up Sun. Aerodactyl can outspeed it and kill it with 4x super effective Ice Fang. Tangrowth is in next, and Charizard gets in on a Power Whip. I then outspeed and kill with the Flamethrower. Victreebel is up next, but another Flamethrower from Charizard can one-shot it as well. Leafeon is out after, and also gets shredded by a Flamethrower. Quite literally barbecued. Meganium is out next, which runs dual screens. I bring in Muck as it sets up Light Screen, it then sets up Reflect, and I smash the screens with Brick Break. It sets up another Reflect as I go for a Gunk Shot, which misses out on the kill because of it. It sets up another Light Screen, which gets smashed by Brick Break into the red. Erica heals, and then another Gunk Shot can finally take it out. Blossom goes for a Flash, but I'm able to connect with another Stab super effective Gunk Shot, securing the kill and ending the fight. We travel out to Saffron and face the Psychic type leader Sabrina. The strategy is simple. I sash my Togekiss in case close combat crits, we can then Encore the Gallade into it. I switch to Gyarados and Intimidate, and we can set up 2 Dragon Dances, and well, you know the rest. Am I lazy? Yes. Do I know? Also yes.
Guess you wonder where I've been. I search to find the love within.
The penultimate gym fight in this game is with Blaine, whose gym is now located in the Seafoam Islands. He leads Rapidash, and I lead Politoed to set up the rain. I immediately switch to Mantine, my Swift Swim Sweeper, but Rapidash goes for a Sunny Day on the first turn. Classic. I go back to Politoed to bring the rain back as Rapidash locks into Solar Beam. I get Mantine back in on a weak Solar Beam and can kill it with Surf. Arcanine is out next, but is no match for a Choice Specs rain boosted Surf. Mag Mortar is out next, and it too gets whacked by a Surf, effortlessly killing it. Camerupt is no match for Mantine as it goes down to a Choice Specs and rain boosted stab 4x super effective Surf. Ninetales comes out with Drought, so I bring Politoed back in to reset the weather. I go back to Mantine on another Solar Beam and can outrun it and kill with Surf. Macargo is last out, and it is terminated by one last Surf. After we get to Viridian City, Blue is the last gym fight in the entire game. His team is a bit of a challenge due to him having great coverage and some powerful Pokemon. I lead Alakazam with Magic Guard and Life Orb, which can take out the Nidoqueen with a stab super effective Psychic. Tyranitar comes in next, setting up Sandstorm problematically. I have to hit a range with Aura Sphere now, and Alakazam pulls through. But this does screw me when Rhyperior comes out. I forgot when calcing about the special defense boost, and Aura Sphere no longer kills Rhyperior, so I get slammed by a Stone Edge. I bring Furry Bait in a revenge kill, but I throw for content and misclick, so I don't even kill the Rhyperior and just get shredded by Earthquake. Blue heals as I bring Skarmory in, and I begin a war of absolute attrition. I go for Steel Wing, fishing for defense boost and chipping it down. I figure out that I can roost to drop my flying type, meaning that I take resisted damage from Stone Edge and neutral damage from Thunderfang. I get a few defense boosts, so I'm pretty safe here, but killing Rhyperior takes for fucking ever. I get crit along the way, narrowly living before I can finish the job. Machamp comes in, and I roost to heal up. I have an Aqua Berry to take Fire Punch, but it burns, rendering Skarmory useless. I use Slowbro as a secondary answer. I tank Fire Punch and a Stone Edge, and then retaliate with a Psychic for big damage. Sandstorm Chip finishes the job. Exeggutor comes in next, and I switch to Houndoom on a Leaf Storm that does surprisingly big damage. I can outspeed and smoke it with a stab super effective Flamethrower. Gyarados comes in, and I need to get my Sash Minoon in for free, so I make a tough call and sack Houndoom. Minoon comes in, and then revenge kills with Thunderbolt. I had a Sash in place. If it had Dragon Dance, it would have outsped, but I needed to get in for free, so I didn't take Sandstorm Chip. Red is the final frontier of this game. While there are a few optional boss fights in between now and then, they require the player to catch a fuck ton of legendaries, which I cannot be bothered to do. The quest up Mount Silver is grueling, and we do a few last things before setting ourselves up for the final showdown. Our face-off with Red begins with his Pikachu, which gets outsped by my Scarf Mamoswine. Mamo can knock it out with an Earthquake. Blastoise is out next, and I go to Lantern on a Hydro Pump and do big damage with Thunderbolt, getting it into the yellow. The AI then switches to Venusaur, which takes fairly minimal damage from a Thunderbolt. I switch to Skarmory on a quad-resisted Power Whip, taking very little damage. Venusaur Swords Dances, and I hit a Brave Bird into it, taking the Venusaur out. Charizard comes out next, seeing big damage with Fire Blast. I switch to Gyarados, which eats it. I play into an Air Slash Critter Flinch, knowing that we have a good revenge killer in the back. Thankfully, we go unpunished and can kill it with a Strength. Blastoise comes back in, and I shred it with Earthquake, getting one last KO. Espeon comes in next, and I sack Gyarados for a free switch to Tyranitar. Espeon sets up Reflect with Light Clay, but I can still do big damage with Crunch. Red heals, and I crunch again, but I crit through, killing Espeon. Snorlax is last up, and I stall out Reflect with Tyranitar, then switch to Aggron. Red heals on the switch, so I chip with Iron Tail, which gets a defense drop, and then set up for a kill with Head Smash to end the fight. We can play into a few misses here since Aggron completely walls this thing. I hope you guys enjoyed this run. Overall, it could have been a lot cleaner, but I'm glad I got it done. This is my first ever Nuzlocke video, so please let me know what constructive feedback you may have. I think I know what game I'm going to play next, so subscribe and follow me on Twitch if you're interested. Thank you all for watching, and I hope everyone has a great day.